So welcome to District 4, to the point for information and news. I'm your host, A-Love. I don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to come in because apparently a lot of people like my domestic violence. They like the information on women and the world today. And some people remember all of the things that I did on TikTok. So apparently I can't get away from that. Once you put it out there, it's out there. Some of you are still talking about the stuff I did when I did my first and second channels, and you're asking me to revise a lot of that. So we'll cover it just sort of in a fresh new take, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about dating today. But before I get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We again are building, so it's always great. Everybody jumped on TikTok because it's more relaxed. It's like I do more behind the scenes stuff. But for this, I don't get a chance to tape as much. Again, I'm on the campaigning trail, and I try to make sure all my work is done, and I get everything in that I need to get in before I go off and do anything else. So that's kind of where that's coming from. But I always start when I do stuff like this, so to fact check me if you need to. I start out with my stats. So we're talking dating. So a lot of people are sort of, the dating process would often sometimes depend on what your age is, according to Forbes Health, which is where I'm getting my data from currently. It says nearly 70% of individuals met somewhere on some dating app. That's 70%, which means the majority of the dating is taking place on dating apps. That's what we're doing now, people. Everybody's like, where are all the guys? This is the old school people that are running around looking for people. Maybe such as myself, in real life, in real time. But apparently 70% are all on dating apps. Like, this is the thing to do now. And you have so many options, right? As far as it's 45% believe that's the best place to go. It's 45% of the people that are single, right? And then 33% get connected by a friend, and 32% go to some kind of festival or some sort of event and meet their future spouse or future girlfriend or boyfriend. Interesting. Additionally, 34% of the men found liking another person's photo, FYI, is considered cheating. I just threw that in there for good measure, so there are good men in the world. So, dating apps. Let's talk about it a little bit. That's a large percentage of people that actually go on them and actually find their mate. I'm curious, and I'm going to tell you as to what percentage actually stay stay together as a result of finding the dating app. So let's see what this says. It says 78%. That's pretty high. That's a large percentage of people that actually stay together using a dating app. Wow. Dating app people out there, you're probably hitched by now. The rest of us are still looking. Best part about dating apps is that you actually get to select, and you get to pick the qualities that you like, and find people with commonalities. If you use a site such as one of the originators, it's eHarmony, where they sort of match your personalities, not just your looks, but your personalities as well. Incidentally, this goes all the way back for you old schoolers to used to be something called it was like a dating place. It wasn't considered there were no apps back then, so it was a place where you went, you signed up, you got a VHS. I know they don't do that too much anymore, but back then you had a VHS, and they would play the VHS, and then they would have sort of these parties. It is actually the base of, if you look at the Millionaire Matchmaker, used to work at that place. And I can't think of the name of it right now. Somebody send it to me if you remember it. Gosh, I wish I could remember. But anyways, that's kind of what dating apps became. They became this sort of matchmaking without the matchmaker, in a sense. So matchmaking was newer back then, so it was just becoming something, and people were, trying this sort of system that they had created, and it was one of the originators of it. I wish I could look that up and figure it out. What was it called? It was called. Okay, give me some. I'll keep talking while I'm looking at it, but it's actually one of those types of scenarios. So it proves to be relatively successful depending upon where you go, right? What about people that are outside of dating? What if you don't want to use a dating app? Best place to meet people. So give me a chance. I'm kind of doing this in real time. Let's see if we find, Meetup. Meetup seems to be the #1 place to meet people if you don't want to use a dating app. But I feel like Meetup is along the lines, because they have a lot of singles clubs. They have clubs, period, on Meetup, but they have a lot of singles clubs on Meetup as well. But I feel like it's reminiscent of a live app. Like, you're not actually signing up and being on the app, but you're signing up to be around people with a common interest, and that you're meeting up in person. So if you're kind of like dating, but you don't want to do the whole app thing because you don't know the person and people can fake stuff, according to Forbes, according to Forbes. Not exactly sure where that source is, but that's the source that said that the best place outside of that is Meetup. Interesting, right? What percentage of people, the majority of the other people outside of apps, outside of Meetup, actually meet people at work? Some of you are like, what? You're not supposed to date at work. Yeah, well, not every job. And people don't always follow directions, okay? Sometimes you do and you don't. It depends on what kind of job you have, too. If you're like a lawyer, I mean, no one is going to tell you who you shouldn't date. If you're a doctor, but I may take that back, because I don't know if the medical field you're supposed to do that or not. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to ask somebody that works in medicine. But from the doctors that I know, they met at work. Sometimes they have dated, like, their nurse, or, an administrative person that just happened to be there. So I'm banking that you probably can, but that doesn't necessarily mean that. So I don't know. We're not going to take too much time with this. I just wanted to give you guys some options. Some dating sites? Yeah. You guys want some sites? Okay, top dating apps. Let's see what we got. Hinged, Tinder, OkCupid. I'm not advertising for any of these, by the way. Bumble, Plenty of Fish Dating, eHarmony, Happen, and Coffee Meets Bagel Dating. And then those are suggestions. They're not in any particular order, and they're not necessarily ones. There's also ChristianMeets.com for those of you, and there's CatholicMeets.com for those of you that are Christians and Catholics. They have the same sites for other religions. All right, real quick. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is a little bit of a fun one. Just want to throw out some stats out there, talk to you guys out there dating. Those of you that are getting back on track after you've been sort of in this sort of narcissistic relationships, and just people that got divorced. I mean, it's always difficult. But it's there. The thing is, they're out there. Take your time, find the right person, use whatever medium you feel will work for you. They're not going to just fall on your lap. But the thing is, some of us don't like to go outside. Some of us work and go home. My favorite quote, and I'll leave you with this. They're like, okay, I'm ready, yelling to the universe, okay, I'm ready, I'm out there, I'm gonna date. And then they go, just jump up and down, and then the universe says, okay, now go outside. And they're like, yeah, no. I feel like that's what a lot of us are doing. Which, like, the perfect person for me is probably home. Because he's not going out all the time. So I say that jokingly, but I'm just saying that most of the time it's work and home, and it's really not making going out an exaggerated effort to meet the wrong person. I feel like if you force it, probably don't get the right person. That's just my old school thinking. Somebody send me some notes so I'll know what to say or do. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time.